This conversation is powered by Google Illuminate. Check out illuminate.google.com for more. Ever wondered how those digital signals zip across the airwaves? It's not magic, but it's pretty darn close. Today's discussion dives into the fascinating world of digital modulation.
It's a world of clever tricks to get data across efficiently and reliably.
So we're talking about getting text messages, pictures, even voice across the radio, right? But how does it all work?
It's all about cleverly manipulating a radio signal to carry digital information.
Clever tricks, you say? Sounds intriguing. Let's unpack this. So the article starts by saying that digital communication uses the same basic transceivers as analog. Is that true?
Absolutely. The core hardware is the same. The difference lies in what you feed into the transmitter.
So instead of a voice signal, you're feeding it something else?
Exactly. A digitally coded signal. Think of it like this. Analog is a smooth, continuous wave, while digital is a series of discrete steps.
Like a staircase versus a ramp?
Perfect analogy.
The article mentions subcarrier modulation. What's that all about?
Instead of directly modulating the radio frequency carrier with the digital data, we use a lower frequency audio signal, a subcarrier, to carry the digital information.
So it's like a little digital package riding on a sound wave?
Precisely. This gives us much more flexibility in how we design the digital modes.
And that's why we have so many different digital modes like PSK31, RTTY, FT8, and so on.
Exactly. Each mode uses a different way to modulate that subcarrier.
The article talks about 3 parameters we can change on that subcarrier: amplitude, frequency, and phase.
Right. Changing the amplitude gives us ASK, amplitude shift keying. Changing the frequency gives us FSK, frequency shift keying. And changing the phase gives us PSK, phase shift keying.
So it's like using different languages to encode the data.
Exactly. And each language has its own strengths and weaknesses in terms of speed, efficiency, and resistance to noise.
And constant envelope modulation is better for noisy conditions?
Yes, because noise affects the amplitude more than the frequency or phase, right?
The article also mentions digitization and pulse shaping. What's the deal with that?
Well, if you're sending something like a picture or voice, you need to convert it into a digital format first. Pulse shaping smooths out the digital signal to make it more efficient to transmit.
So it's like cleaning up the signal before it goes on its journey?
Exactly. It reduces the bandwidth needed and minimizes interference.
Root raised cosine, half sinusoid, Gaussian yay. Those sound like fancy names for signal smoothing techniques.
They are. Each has its own characteristics and is suited for different applications.
How do digital modes deal with errors caused by noise?
They use various error correction techniques. Simple methods like parity bits and ARQ automatic repeat requests are used for basic error detection and correction.
ARQ sounds like a lot of back and forth.
It is. That's why more advanced methods like FEC, forward error correction, are used. They correct errors without needing retransmissions.
So it's like having a built-in spell checker for radio signals.
A very sophisticated one indeed.
The article divides digital modes into generations. What's the difference?
The first generation, like RTTY and AM-TOR, were relatively simple and often relied on ARQ. Second generation modes, like PSK31, were more robust and efficient.
And the third generation?
Modes like FT8 and JT65 are incredibly efficient, using very narrow bandwidths and powerful FEC. But they're also very slow and not ideal for conversations.
So a trade-off between speed and efficiency?
Precisely. JS8 call is a newer mode that tries to bridge that gap, offering both efficiency and conversational capabilities.
The article mentions SNR, signal-to-noise ratio. How does that relate to digital modes?
The ability to receive a signal depends on the SNR within the signal's bandwidth. Narrow bandwidth modes like FT8 can work with surprisingly low SNRs because they focus on a very small slice of the spectrum.
So they're like laser beams of data?
A good analogy. They cut through the noise.
So digital modulation is a fascinating blend of clever signal processing and robust error correction techniques.
It's a testament to human ingenuity, allowing us to squeeze more information out of the airwaves than ever before.
That was a great discussion. Thanks for sharing your expertise.